I have some plays that I think you absolutely should be paying attention to. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and do you know how you get a sleigh at a good price? You have to bargain. All right, the three companies that I have for you in this video, Capital One Financial, Trade Desk, and Eli Lilly. I'm going to talk about each one of those in the video, and then I'm also going to give an update on crypto. If you want to see how I'm playing this market, check out the link down in the description for the Patreon. Also, I have an options course over there if you want to figure out how to amplify your portfolio. And I just recently completed my videos for stock mode to add to his technical analysis trading course. I'll tell you more about that later. For right now, I'm going to get into the charts themselves because that's what you came here for. So we are looking at Capital One Financial, and this yellow line up here is showing us the resistance that we're seeing right at 132. And man, oh man, a tough day today. We actually closed at 132.11. So you could kind of say resistance has been broken, but I wouldn't say solidly so. And this is a long-term trend line that we have right here, which I think is a price that we could actually tumble down to. And I did say tumble down because if we fail to break that resistance, we actually have rising prices with falling momentum happening. So should we continue to fall in momentum, we could break down below 70 and see a price reversal on this one. So I think that makes this an extra interesting play. We do have earnings coming up, according to what I see here on TradingView, on January the 25th, and that's typically before the market opens. So I want to be watching that for the financial stocks to be out there. That's going to be another catalyst. So if this play does exist and if there is a short coming for us, most likely it's going to happen prior to that date. And from that technical analysis trading course that I was talking about, there is something in there called the bread recipe, which will tell you how to get the whole loaf as Stock Mode talks about it. I have an options part that he's going to be including in there very soon. I sent them to him. He just needs to put them up. It's going to be awesome. So as we look at this, we have this green moving average right here. We want to see it cross over the yellow. And when we see it cross down over the yellow, that could show us that we're in set up possibly for a reversal. But we also want to watch the RSI to make sure as it drops here, we want to see that drop below 50 as well. And there's other things that we want to look for as well with those different technicals, but absolutely watch for that reverse to be happening in the short term to return back down to this trend line at about $120 per share, which would be a significant drop from where it's at now, between 8 and 10% down, should we actually get that break. And if we break up over this resistance that we have up here, then we could continue up for a little while longer. But given the overbought state of this right now and the fact that historically we don't stay, especially that overbought, for very long throughout the history of Capital One Financial. And so it's one that I think could show us a little bit of relief sometime in the near future. If it doesn't fall all the way back, we also do have 124 to look out for as well. Now, the Trade Desk is another one. This one, we're looking at the weekly chart right now, and we have the 50 SMA and EMA that we're sitting on for support, and the RSI is like smack dab right along that 50, and we want to see that solid drop on a weekly basis to signal a long-term downtrend. Now, I will say that this advertising stock is one that's favored through 2024, but that doesn't mean in the near term that it won't necessarily suffer that pain. If I drop this down to the daily charts, we actually broke down below the 50 SMA and EMA that we have on here, and we're also down below the 200. Those are all bearish, and we're also solidly below 50 on the RSI that we just got that cross during the last 2 trading days that took place, but we were still sitting on the 50 here. Now we broke down below it. This looks like a good time. Not financial advice. Do your own research and due diligence, but this is looking very interesting to me, setting up for a short play in this bearish channel that we have. That it is possible that we see a significant drop from our close of at about $70 to $71 down to possibly 67, or if we really sell on this thing, 64, 65, and then all the way down to the bottom of this whenever that should happen. I might even need to extend this line so we see where that would happen over time, that we could drop down even below 60. That 60 round number support, by the way, we would be watching for that. We can see over here that we caught that support taking place, those low prices at 60.23, 61.74. So that's a line in the sand, if you will. Now, mind you, if we pop back up over the 50 and the 200, that could be something that could refute what we see happening here. And also watch the RSI to cross back up over 50, because that could signal that we're heading back in a bullish direction instead of a bearish one. But this is one that trading bearish would go along with the trend versus Capital One Financial, which would be trading against the trend. So I actually do like the Trade Desk trade a whole lot more in terms of shorting. Now, Eli Lilly is one that got one of my community members asked me about and said, are we seeing any bearish signs here? Well, we do see a decrease in momentum, but we're still in bullish territory, and bullish is the trend that we're on. We're above the 200-day, we're above the 50 period. This is actually the weekly chart. So even on a weekly trend basis, we are well into bullish territory. And if we drop this down to the daily charts, you can see that we crossed up over 50, that we're still looking bullish, and we had decent volume yesterday during the trading day, and I did say it's hard to tell if we're bearish or bullish. The bias is bullish right now, but really it matters which part of this trend line that we break out. If we break out the top trend line, we have room up to 628. We break out the bottom trend line, we have room down to about 550. So significant moves for Eli Lilly in either direction, and we want to watch for that. Right now the bias is bullish. We're above the 200-day, and we're above the 50-day EMA and SMA. These trend lines are what we're watching for. This is a consolidation formation, and in order to break that consolidation, we need to see which trend line is broken, and that would set you up if you're doing calls or puts, or even if you're buying the shares directly and going for a swing trade move on something like Eli Lilly. That's one that you want to see those trend lines broken on good volume, especially before we can really make that determination. And again, not financial advice, just what I see on the chart. So Capital One Financial, Trade Desk, and then also Eli Lilly are all things that I think that you should be paying attention to. Now, about the Patreon, if you want to see my buys and sells and how I'm playing this market, that link for the Patreon is down in the description. My Tesla stock price prediction and earnings projection is nearly complete. I will be adding that to the Patreon along with the spreadsheet where you can see specifically my calculations, how it's all done. You can see my stock price prediction that I have not only for this coming quarter, but the entire past year that we have for 2023, and then all the way up through 2030. Those projections will be updated. And then also I have my NVIDIA stock price prediction that I'll be updating as well for their earnings, which will come along in, I believe, February. And then my options course is also available as well. If you want to learn how to amplify your portfolio through the power of options, that course is there for you, and I'll be adding to it very soon as I have the recordings done. I just need to put them into the editing room and get them ready to go. And then that technical analysis course, I went through this myself. It is very clean, straightforward, easy. You can get through it in about a day and go back and restudy it as necessary. There's a lot of high quality information in there. And one of my favorite things about the technical analysis trading course, and again, you can get that link down in the description for this, you can go ahead and sign up. There is a Discord over there where you can talk about how you're playing the bread recipe, how you're using technical analysis, where you're having success, where you're having your failures. You can get feedback from the Discord members. I'm over there. Stockmo's over there. You can go, you can check it out. It's wonderful. It's an amazing community so far. And it's just a good place to be all around, a good learning resource for those of you looking to take your trading game to the next level and really work on filling out that profitability. All right, let's get back to the charts for this thing. And I do want to give an update on crypto. So let's go over to Bitcoin to see how it's moving as of the recording here. So for Bitcoin, what we're looking at is the daily chart. The momentum's looking good. The volume from yesterday is looking good. We've switched over into today. I'm actually recording this in the wee morning hours here. So I'm sure my wife is going to have a few things to say about that. She's very supportive, but also wants me to get my rest. And I promise I will get that rest so that I can trade with a clear head. But I did want to talk about this. And so you can see this descending wedge that I talked about in my previous video. If you watch that, if not, you can go back and watch it. We have drifted up out of that. The RSI, the momentum on an hourly basis right now, isn't really moving too much for us, not a convincing way. It's above 50, so it's bullish, but in a consolidating manner. So a slow little kind of lazy-ish rise that we're looking at right now. And it is possible that we keep on pushing leading up to that ETF decision. It's also possible that the momentum falls out and we drop down leading up to that decision. So continuing to sell the news. I think there's been a lot of profit taking today. And we even saw with the miners plays that even though I took my profits on Mara, it still dropped considerably after that. And I think that people are going to be setting up very soon with their different straddles and strangles with those options plays in order to take advantage of whichever way Bitcoin goes. The only thing that I really believe that I know about Bitcoin, even though I think there's a high likelihood that we could get that approval, there's also a really decent likelihood that we don't get it. And either way, Bitcoin, I think, is going to move enormously in either direction sometime in the next several days leading up to January 10th, which anytime between now and then we could get that decision on the spot Bitcoin ETF. And so we can set ourselves up either in a single direction if we think we know which way it's going to go. However, if we're wrong, and we choose options, that can eat away our money. However, if we choose both directions by taking a straddle or a strangle and play the volatility play on that one, even though that mitigates our upside on that, it also mitigates the downside and protects us from a bigger loss on something like that. And then there's other things that you can do as well, that you could trade with a better defined risk or even a lower risk, but remember that also caps your upside. So for Bitcoin, keep watching this. We do want to see further bullishness come out of this. We most definitely got to break up above 46,000 in order to see continued bullishness. Otherwise, we could hit a double top and really drop down through this thing, or we could just drop and break these different trend lines that you see here and different supports, and we could continue falling. This is the 50 period, the 50 hour coming up this way. We'll see what sort of support that we get that from that and our other moving averages that we have, such as on the daily basis for Bitcoin. So for this one, we are well above it right now. We could come down and smooch it, but that's all the way down at 41,000 before rallying back up. But we do have several trend lines for support, and we also have this horizontal support from historical values, among some other ones that I don't have on here for clutter purposes. And then we also have from our peaks and valleys that we have with the Fibonacci retracement that we have from the all-time high to the most recent low that we've had. Right now, that 50% fib is about $42,300, so $42,300 per Bitcoin that we're looking at. And of course, ETH is sort of following suit, and AVAX is right now tossing a head and shoulders type look. Now, mind you, it's not confirmed. I said in my previous video that the neckline on this is at 39. We return to 39 and drop below it. That confirms the head and shoulders. We could see this pop down to 34. Luckily, we have the 50 period EMA and SMA here to catch us for support. So that can be a very good thing. And then Solana continuing to settle right now. We'll see what sort of formation we get from that. We did peekaboo today or yesterday during the trading day up at about 117, and I have 116 is where that resistance was, and we just peekabooed just above it, came back down, and now we're setting up for the next play on this. And again, Bitcoin is going to be a huge influence where crypto is concerned. So Capital One Financial, make sure that you check it out. It is possible we do get a little bit of a sell-off leading up to those earnings, and if not, it could be one of those things that we run up leading up to earnings, and then we get a sell from that. I think that there could be a possible short waiting there for us. It is against the trend, so we got to be careful with that. Trade desk with the trend shorting could most definitely work for us, especially if we break down below the 50-week that we have, as you saw on the charts. Eli Lilly, watch which trend line ends up getting broken, because that could tell us about the further or future direction that we get coming out of that trend. And then what we have for crypto, keep on watching Bitcoin. That's going to tell us a lot about the altcoins as well. That's going to determine a lot about that direction. And I keep coming back to YouTube to report to you the updates that I have on crypto itself and the spot Bitcoin, the spot ETF for Bitcoin as well. Guys, if you want to see my buys and sells, if you want to be with my community, you want to talk with me over in the Discord, that link for the Patreon is down in the description. My options course is for the complete beginner. I'm going to add the applications and go up through advanced trading strategies as well for that options course. It's only going to get better over time, more value, more service. And then also that trading course, the technical analysis course from Stock Mode that I'm collaborating with him on. It is worth going through again and again and practicing, and you even have the Discord that you can join for that, and that will also help you to have that direct feedback from the community members. I'm also over there, and Stock Mode's over there. Those links, guys, are down in the description. As always, thank you for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.